The Great Gatsby. Introduction. My name is Nick Carraway. I was born in a big city in the Middle West. My family has been well known there for 70 years. My father's university was Yale at New Haven, Connecticut, and I went there too. I graduated in 1915 and then went to fight in the Great War. When I came back from the war, life in the Middle West was there. I could not settle down. I decided to go east and learn the bond business. My father agreed to pay my expenses for the first year. So in 1922, I went to New York. I had planned to stay in the East for several years, but I was there for only one summer. This book is the story of the summer. I arrived in New York in spring. The weather was a lightly warm and the city was hot and uncomfortable. I looked around for somewhere cheap to live. I found a little house about 20 miles from New York, near the village of West Egg. My house was on Long Island, near the sea. It stood between two enormous houses that had been built for millionaires. The house on the right of my house had a swimming pool and was surrounded by beautiful lawns and gardens. It was Gatsby's house. And this is Gatsby's story. But of course, I didn't know Gatsby then. Chapter 1. Tom and Daisy. That spring, the sun shone every day. I was lonely at first in the East, but I felt that this was the real beginning of my life. I worked in the first year. I bought books. I worked hard. I was trying to make myself a successful businessman. One evening, the phone rang. It was my cousin Daisy. "Hello, Nick," she said in her soft voice. "Do you know we're neighbors? Tom and I are living across the bay in the East Egg. I think we've settled down at last. Do come to dinner, Nick. I'd love to see you." Of course, I agree. I want to see my cousin Daisy again. She had married Tom Buchanan, a man I had known at Yale University. Tom had been a famous football player at college. His family was very rich, and Tom had spent money carelessly. Now he and Daisy had left Chicago, where I had last seen them. After the war, they had traveled around America and Europe. I did not believe they had let it settle down. They were too rich and too restless. So, a few days later, I drove over to East Egg. The Buchanan's house was a big one, overlooking the bay. The lawns and gardens started at the house and went down to the sea. It was late afternoon, and the weather was warm and windy. All the windows at the front of the house were wide open. Tom Buchanan stood on the porch, his legs wide apart. He was a fair-haired man of about 30. He wore smart riding clothes, and his body looked strong and cruel. We talked for a few minutes on the sunny porch. "I've got a nice place here," Tom told me. He took hold of my arm and showed me the outside of the house. Then we looked at the rose garden and walked down to the sea. There was a big motorboat at the end of the dock. "Come inside now and see Daisy," Tom said. We walked into the house and into a high room with windows at either end. The windows were open and the wind blew the curtains up towards the ceiling, then down towards the thick carpet. Two young women were sitting on an enormous couch. Their white dresses blew about in the wind until Tom shut the windows. The younger girl on the couch was Miss Baker. The other girl was my cousin Daisy. Daisy leaned forward and gave a charming little laugh. I'm so very happy to see you again, Daisy said. Her eyes were bright and exciting, but her smile was sad. I told Daisy that I had stayed in Chicago on my way to New York. Lots of friends had sent her their love. That's wonderful, Daisy cried. Let's go back, Tom, tomorrow. I'm staying here in the East, Tom said firmly. I will never live anywhere else. At that moment, drinks were brought in. Miss Baker did not take one. No thanks, she said. I'm in training. Tom looked at her in surprise. You are? He took his drink and drank it quickly. I don't know how you get anything done. I looked at Miss Baker and wondered what she did. She was slim, with gray eyes and a pale, unhappy face. I was sure I had seen her before. You live in West Egg, Miss Baker said to me. I know somebody there, Gatsby. You must know Gatsby. Gatsby? Daisy asked quickly. What Gatsby?